All right. Well, have we arrived at this point of where, what if I were to tell you that the red pill regarding relationships is an illusion? What if I were to tell you that everything you've been told was a lie? So, yes, this whole time, think about it. All the guys that were talking all this red pill talk, most of them are back into the matrix. Most of them want to be back into the matrix. What was the point of the red pill to begin with? Now, before one would try to assume how I'm going to go about with this, here to tell you right now, this will be from an inverted perspective. So it's going to be from a place you've never heard before and never will hear from anywhere else. So, this illusion about the red pill regarding relationships, think about it. So, there was this character on the Matrix movie itself. His name was Cypher. And apparently, he had beef with Morpheus because he felt like Morpheus thought everybody was the one. You know, Neo wasn't the only one who was seen as like the one, but everybody that Morpheus saw as the one died. And of course, Morpheus was fed a lot of the philosophies of the red pill from, yes, the Oracle. So, all this deception going on allegedly. So, really, there wasn't this sense of who was really the one. But then the one actually showed up. It just happened to be Neo. So, somehow it just all worked out, right? So, there's a certain movie out there called Dune, which was the same way. Like, they had this prophecy allegedly, but it wasn't really like a true prophecy. But somehow fate had its way that someone that would be seen as the chosen one showed up anyway, right? So life can be like that sometimes. But in this case, what we're talking about regarding this idea about the red pill, yes, could there be a chosen one that really knows what's going on regarding all this? There could be. I'm not saying I'm not saying that I'm that guy, but I'm just saying there could be somebody out there. So let's go further into this topic. So, yes, think about it this way, y'all. And I really want y'all to think about this. Going back to, like I said, all this talk, like Cypher, he just was like, look, this is like there really isn't like when you get past all this what we know in society and what we want to strive for, it becomes harder to achieve, especially with the way the government is impending upon us and the way the brave new world will look for us going forward, like the way that will look, that's just going to get more scary. Like, so they don't call it a brave new world for nothing. Okay. So that means it's daunting of a task for us to still try to maintain some sense of tradition regarding love and relationships. It's only going to get darker from here. So what you can do is two things. One, just loathe in what's being offered here in this society, and the fact that there's certain aspects of love and relationships and even wealth and prosperity that you will never be able to achieve in this world. Or you can try to go it the hard way, but you're going to pay for it trying to get there. And so all Cypher was saying in the movie Matrix was, look, that's y'all problem. That's not my problem. I don't want nothing to do with it. I just want to get back to what I think is content about life. And maybe y'all might call it status quo, but that's me. So regarding relationships, a lot of people are doing this with their content now too. They're going back to what they think is status quo. Even just talking on simping, right? Like, some people even are saying certain things about simp and nothing wrong with it, right? Like, it's just all this stuff that I'm starting to see unfold. Okay. And then, of course, a lot of grifters are starting to come with their notion of what relationships starting to look like. So a lot of things are just starting to get more blurred again regarding content and even just topics and even outside of the internet. Like, uh, just who you talk to on a regular basis. It's like, dang, this is how y'all look at life. This is how y'all look at love. But so it makes you think that at the end of the day, this is just your battle. This is only going to be your battle. This is not anybody else's. And so it goes back to what Cypher told Neo in some of the unreleased scripts of the Matrix movie. Basically, Cypher was saying, look, Neo, at the end of the day, it's just all about survival. It's not about who's a hero, who's a villain. It's not about red pill, blue pill, none of that. It's about survival. That's what it comes down to. So if there's a real pill for you, that's the real pill. No red pill, no blue pill. That's the real deal. It's just simply about survival. It's about one, obviously, also having self-preservation. So there's that. There's survival, there's self-preservation. So basically, what works for you, that's what works for you. That might not necessarily work for me, but we've been all told that if you take this red pill, things supposed to work better for you, especially regarding relationships. But you start to realize that, hey, that has a variable, and that could be affected based on the environment, based on your own experiences, based on your own level of growth. There was even a point in time when, yes, I was all about seeing all this stuff to know about the red pill, and I still haven't changed my thoughts on it. The philosophy of it sounds great, but to be honest, like, the reality of it is that people are just, they look at this brave new world that you're going to have to endure. If you really want to see certain things happen in your life, you're going to have to get through that. And most people aren't able to crack that ceiling. Most people go back to living whatever that proverbial life is, and this idea of what the matrix is. Like, you start to talk just like you did before you really was trying to make big changes in your life. Like, you still talking on game, you still talking on a certain way you got to be around women. Like, you just trying to find a better way to be around women instead of the way a woman needs to be around you. Okay, so that's more traditional. Okay, but most people aren't taking it there. Most people aren't about their life. Most people don't practice what they preach. So in most cases, a lot of the red pill has been a lie to a lot of these people because they haven't wanted to live it. And most people are livid even in trying to have certain results with red pill. They've been off their pivot. Okay, I can say all that because I've seen it. Just seeing how people live their lives. And I just think that there's just not enough truth out there regarding how to move forward with life, love, and relationships, to really do something about it, to really put a stamp on it, make it certified. Nah. And we're just going to see more circular content out here. No reform, nothing. Still the same thing, still the same issues, still people going halfway around the world trying to look for love. Still all of that, right? Uh, Even regarding society, because one can say, well, you don't travel halfway around the world just to find a woman. You go halfway around the world because of financial reasons, to try to get your finances right. The American dollar is going out of whack. You need to find a better country, society, infrastructure. But it's like, yo, it doesn't matter if it's a woman. It doesn't matter if you're trying to find something outside the American dollar. You couldn't make it where you are. You had to go elsewhere for it. Doesn't matter if it's a woman or not. So in essence, you're still finding basically another matrix to go to. Being in the matrix, it doesn't matter where you go. You're just going to another matrix. You haven't figured out how to crack the ceiling to survive in a brave new world where you stand. Okay. And you see, yes, the elites, the rich people, all this, you name it, they get to live the good life. And I guess you didn't. You're just happy with the steaks that Cypher got to eat. You're happy with that type of life. You're happy with eating the GMO type of stuff. You're happy with eating the way this world has you to eat. Like, you feel like you can't go out your way to try to hunt your own food, to grow your own plants, things like that, right? So it's just a lot of that you factor in, and you start to be happy with where you are. And a lot of people are reverting back to that. You hear it in their content. You hear it in the way people just live their day-to-day life. Like, they just see a bill and they like, yo, life's over for me. See, someone like me personally, not that I like to talk too much about myself personally, but uh, stuff like that just gets me fired up. Because I know that society trying to narrate and just dictate how it wants you to live. And you have to be like, no, we got to make a change in our lifetime. In our generation, we have to do something different. We have to have a certain revolution take place that won't be televised. It has to take place. You have to cause a revolution to take place in your life. You can't just be content with the way life is. But that's the way we see it. We're not seeing full reform in a lot of our lives. We're just trying to figure out a better way to grow old instead of a new way to grow old, right? We're just trying to figure out a better way to deal with all these relationship issues instead of actually a new way to deal with it, right? And that's all I'm just trying to say is that all this, I think what it did for a lot of guys, this notion of a red pill per se, yeah, you may have felt like it woke you up, but I think it actually just put you to sleep. I think you've always been awake. You were just trying to get away. That's all that was. But that brave new world is still out there, and there's no getting away from it. Even though you thought that red pill was going to be some type of hallucinogen for you, but you can't get away from reality. The reality is it's scorched skies and scorched earth out there, and there's more of it to come. And what you're going to do about it, especially regarding women, because a lot of them are getting worse, a lot of them are getting darker. It's easy just to go in a different place about it and find another matrix out there, right? Grab a passport per se, things like that. And it's like, yo, what about here? What if you do have to find an island? You've been living on one. You're here, right? You're still on that island. Well, hey, fine. But make that island your island. Make where you reside where you reside. Don't let someone push you out of where you reside. Don't let someone make you a prisoner in your own home. And now I'm speaking on relationships because that is something that I see happen. Guys have man caves in their garage. They don't have a sense of privacy in their own home that they're paying for. They're supposed to be the provider, right? But he has really no foot in that home. No foot in that home. She has all the footage and she has the foot in the home, but you don't want to walking in there with your foot. You can't even walk loud with your feet in the home. You gotta walk tiptoe. No, you a grown man. You pay the bills in the home. Come on now. You're supposed to be King Kong in the home, right? So, and there's a lot more I could say about that, but I'll just say simply put, there has to be a lot of that revolution going on. The revolution to start at home. Yes, it needs to start at home. Then it can spread more widespread. Then it could be seen that there could be some reality to this red pill versus right now it's an illusion. So like I said, this is not the down talk philosophies of the red pill, but it is to say that for most people that's just unobtainable, right? Not even sustainable, because most people aren't taking the proper steps and measurements to get to a certain place in life. So yes, in some sense, yes, Cypher had his beef with Morpheus about, I guess, deceiving other chosen ones. But in the sense that he felt with Neo, hey, where others failed, you will succeed. So maybe it wasn't deception from Morpheus after all. Maybe he just knew, just because people are chosen, right? That doesn't mean they'll fall through, or as the scripture would say for those who read the good old book, many people are called, but few are chosen. Even if you're supposed to be chosen, yeah, I know you're chosen. That's why I called you. But only few are chosen because most won't follow through with everything that's taking place after the phone call. Basically, you got recruited, but you didn't get fully suited and booted, as they would say in the military. That's all that was. So that's not to say that there's deception in this notion of what you could have been versus how you felt like someone deceived you when it comes to you being someone you never were. No, you were that. You were meant for greater, So yeah, Morpheus had a little faith. That doesn't mean he saw anyone that's no better or no special than the other person. Yeah, you can have faith in a lot of people, but only a few people will really achieve based on that faith that you have in them. That doesn't mean that you look at a person like, yo, you're just not that more special than the next person. No, it's just, hey, I treat everybody with love, but not many people will receive that love, right? So some gals might feel a certain way too. You might be like, well, you say that to all the gals. You say that to everybody. I don't mean nothing. Hey, I'm just a loving type of person. But if you actually appreciate this love that I put out to you, I can do something about that even more for you because you're showing me that reciprocal aspect about you I haven't really gotten around my way. I'm just literally trying to be a nice guy, right? I'm just trying to be a gentleman, right? So that was just Morpheus just being Morpheus. He knew who could have been, but most of them didn't show up. Most of them just couldn't fall through. And maybe it was just too tough of a task to try to deal with this brave new world. I get it, right? And even now we deal with relationships, right? They call this what? The new normal ever since 2020. All this going on. So it can be rough. It is rough, right? So not many people are going to follow through. Some people are just going to say forget relationships altogether. Some people will travel out yonder thinking that there's something beyond there. But some people just end up coming back home. Some people you never hear from again, and I don't mean that in a good way. Okay, so I say all this to say, as far as I'm concerned, uh, just let it be about what I would call the real pill, not the red pill, until you know the truth will be revealed regarding certain aspects of if you decide to take the red pill per se to deal with this brave new world. Because it's not about you making it through the matrix. uh yeah, getting back into the matrix. Yeah, Neo got went back into the matrix, right? He went back into the matrix, but it wasn't to stay there. It was to pull someone else, right? So there could be times where in this notion of where you deal with society, you deal with life, there might be somebody you're trying to reach out there that you know has great potential, and that's who you reach out to. But that's not to say you're going back to the same life that they live and they continue to live, you know. But that's what is happening. We're going back to the same dysfunctional relationships, to the same dysfunctional lifestyle, because they be like, man, I tried it. I try to be this. I try to be that. It doesn't work. I'll just go back to what I know. You know, some people go back to doing illegal things, right? They go back to doing little dirty and grimy things, unfortunately. Some people go back to toxic relationships. You know, some people go back to just dealing with the way they be dealing with things. And yes, even you not wanting to deal with women no more, that's just you going back to a way you were living before you had women around, before you got married, before you met your first love or whatever. You know, you just figured you wanted to go back to what you called a simpler life, but you're still going backwards, but no one will admit that, right? So moving forward is, how can you live a simpler life even with a woman around? Answer that question. Answer that question. So um that's something that we're still trying to answer. A lot of gals don't know how to live a peaceful life with a man. A lot of them are like, how do I get this gal to live a peaceful life with me? Or just know that's at least the type of life she needs to live around you. Like, some guys haven't gotten to that point. Because, yeah, it could be one thing to be like, yo, she needs to bring peace. You should already be peaceful. She should add to that peace. She should keep things peaceful with you. So it's that simple. You know, don't think, oh man, I'll get all the peace in the world when I find a peaceful woman. No, you're peaceful. She has to be peaceful with you. That's what she needs to be telling herself. Yo, I just need to be around a more peaceful man. But yeah, if she's coming around like, yo, I'm peace myself, nah, she's just more chaotic. She just trying to be like a man at that point. And I'll say that also is something else to bring up too regarding this idea of gender and things like that. Like, things are getting more blurred now as most people are reverting back to such a certain life. Like, before you even knew how to be more masculine, you were definitely not as masculine as you thought you were. Just as she was not and still is not as feminine as she thinks she is. And so there's really that too. That even all that you thought you were learning from this idea of the red pill about being more masculine just made you more feminine. Keep that in mind, and thanks a million for stopping by.